All right, kids, it's time for a review of what we did in class today. And we're going to talk about what it means to annotate and look very closely at the test that we're taking in SchoolNet because we have a test on Friday. First and foremost, when I look at question number one, I'm going to underline keywords. Now, you're probably used to something very similar to this because you do it in ELA all the time. So let's go ahead and do this. We're going to underline our keywords here in this. So I have food web. I have grass, grasshoppers, moss, and mushrooms. And it says which of these is identified as a consumer. So I'm going to break all of this down really quickly. So I have way too large of a font. Where is that? And so let's go down to like 14. There we go. So I have grass and I have moss. I know that those are probably both eaten by grasshoppers because these two are plants, and then I know I'm going to have over here mushrooms. Let's spell it correctly. Mushrooms because they're going to end up decomposing all of this. Now, one thing we talked about in class today is where the arrows point, and we said that the arrows point like this. Grass gives energy to the grasshopper. Moss gives energy to the grasshopper. Now, all of these other things, grass goes to the mushroom, moss goes to the mushroom, and grasshopper goes to the mushroom, not because mushrooms eat them, but when they are dead. So if grass dies, if moss dies, when a grasshopper dies, we know that we have things called decomposers that break them down. Now, there was one other word over here that we need to talk about, and it was consumer. And I think Ray defined it best today when I was in Miss Saunders' room. He said anything that eats. And that's pretty, and that's true because he said anything that eats meat, anything that eats plants, or anything that eats both. Okay, so I look at this food web. It's basically saying which of these is the consumer. Okay, well, which of these is something that eats? Well, we know for a fact that it's not the mushroom because the mushroom breaks down dead things. Neither of these things are doing any eating. Why? Because they are producers. They're making their own food. So grass isn't the answer. Moss isn't the answer. Grasshopper is the best answer. And I know, like we said in class, really, Mr. Bullens, that's a lot. That's a lot of work for one question. It is. But it's essential in order for us to get these questions correct because they don't get any easier. They just get harder and harder, and the way that they're written is very tricky. And I think number two really proves that. Whoa, if I don't go too quick here. Number two really proves how tricky the questions can be. Now, again, we're going to follow what Gabby taught us. She said she underlines the key words. She probably learned that in fourth grade, maybe third grade. That's a very important thing. They say producers. Where are producers on a food chain? Now, I can look at all of this, but there's really no words. So I'm going to create my own small food chain down here. I'm going to go grass. I'm going to go mouse. I'm going to go snake. And I'm going to go hawk. Bullens, where did you come up with that? We literally talked about this in class. There was a slide that had this on it. That's where it came from because I remember talking about it. Now, remember, grass gives energy to the mouse. Mouse gives energy to the snake. Snake gives energy to the hawk. Now, next thing, where are the producers? What are producers? Well, they make their own food. Okay? They are literally plants. Let's crunch that back in. There we go. Producers make their own food. They're plants. Now, where are the things that make their own food on a food chain? Here's our food chain. You tell me where it is. I see it. It's literally right here. What did I do there? I don't know what I did there. Right here. It's at the beginning. I like this at the beginning? Because they create their own food, which is pretty much what we said here. So this is an answer I really like. Let's skip B for a moment. Are they at the end because they rely on other organisms for energy? Now we know that producers make their own food using the sun. This answer makes no sense. Their position changes depending on what they are eating. That to me sounds more like an answer for consumers. Now that goes green. Okay. Consumers change based on what they're eating. You remember that. Carnivores eat meat, herbivores eat plants, omnivores eat both. That's not the answer. This question is very tricky because this part right here is true. Every organism relies on producers. Absolute fact. And they will put things in the questions that sound 100% true. Like this. Every organism relies on producers. That's not a lie. But look at the work that we did down here. Are producers in the center? No. So this cannot be the answer. The only answer is A. Don't let them trick you with half-truths. All right? Now let's go over the last one that we did in class, and we'll get this video posted for today. Okay? And we're going to, again, follow the strategies that people taught us today. In the food web, which organisms are producers. Okay? So in this food web, I have some things that are producers. I think I see them, but I'm going to mark through things that I know are not plants. Not a plant, not a plant, not a plant. Nope, 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 and nope. None of these are plants. These are all biotic factors, but they're animals. Plants are biotic factors, but they make their own food. The only two things on here that are producers that can make their own food are these bottom two. Now I look at my answer choices. Frog and rat. Well, frog is marked out, so is rat. Rat, nope. Leaves, yes. So remember, here's one of those half-truths, but it can't be true. Leaves and berries, yes and yes. This one is 100% true. That's basically how we're going to start breaking down tests. Tomorrow we're going to continue to practice the exact same thing in class. We'll practice breaking down tests, except we're probably going to look a little closer at the food chains and the food webs because those get very dicey. This is what I would consider the easy types of questions about food chains and food webs. And tomorrow we're going to get into how those get a little more difficult. If you have any questions, just let me know. Send me some feedback in Google Classroom. Send me a message. Email me. Have your parents dojo me. Give me a call after school if your parents need to. Whatever it is. And don't forget, since this is YouTube, don't forget to subscribe and smash that like button.